Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So basically, what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be discussing more or less what it's like having a baby during coronavirus and the whole pandemic situation. Obviously, I just quick story. I had a baby born on August the 11th, so now about 20 days ago. It was in the middle of the whole pandemic virus thing. So, just what to expect more or less when you're going to the hospital and what to expect from some of the nurses. So, right away, I do have other kids that were born outside of the pandemic period. And I will say that the experience with those kids were much more positive. Uh, we were able to leave, come and go as I pleased. If I needed to go get some stuff for my wife, or I needed to bail out to go get something while she was in the middle of some stuff, I could do so. I remember for both my babies, I was able to be actually in the room while they were administering the epidural to for childbirth, and of course to ease the pain. Um, this time around, however, they actually kicked me out of the room. So that was a thing. First and foremost, let's start off by arriving. Once you get there, your temperature checked. At least that's what happened here at the hospital. The temperature, my temperature was checked. We were given masks. We were given a green band with a time written of what time we were tested at, and then of course we proceeded to go back into the emergency room. At that time, they confirmed that my wife was in active labor. They did the whole test. They took her readings. They did all the procedures that you would normally do when your wife is suspected into, being in the middle of childbirth. Then afterwards, we were made to wait while she was being prepared a room in labor and delivery. So I waited outside. I want to say from that point, a good hour to an hour and a half, I want to say, is what happened. And then I was called, was given a room. But this is where the big difference. Once you go to the room, once I was actually in the room, and I could no longer leave. I could no longer go. I could no longer, leave for some reason. Oh, another thing. We refused to be tested. Okay, so because of the whole coronavirus situation is that we had refused to be tested because there's certain things and certain beliefs that we have. We can get those right out of the way right now. We just didn't feel like we needed to be tested. We don't feel safe being tested, and then the results and then all that stuff. So we decided not to be tested. If you decide not to be tested for coronavirus, they're going to treat you like you have coronavirus. So they're going to treat you like a positive case. That means you will not be able to leave the room, the labor and delivery room. You will be forced to wear a mask at all times. Now, I will tell you my experience was a little bit different because they did say some of that stuff as well. You can't leave the room, but we'll get into a little bit of the details in a few minutes. But long story short is expect that to happen with a little bit more stringent hospitals. Yeah. So that was the case. So we were treated like positive patients. Once we actually got up to the labor and delivery department, we were given our own room. Everything else seemed normal. Now here's another difference. Because we decided not to take the tests, every time a nurse had to come into contact with us, she had to wear complete PPE protective equipment. We're talking face shield. I think some of them were even wearing double masks. I swear some of them were wearing a K95 mask with something else on top. I don't know why. Plus the surgical gear and everything, the net on the head, the whole works. They came in with we didn't run a fever, we weren't coughing, we weren't sneezing and stuff like that. So I don't know, but because of that reason, we decided not to get tested. They were completely geared up, like if we had some sort of alien disease or something like that. Which is obviously this might be an alien disease. I don't even know what this disease is, but I can comfortably say that they treated us like a positive case, and I feel like that annoyed some of the nurses. I feel like Like every time we would call them, they would need to probably go through this 5 minute setup of even having to come into the room just because we refused to get tested. So because of that, I did feel that some of the nurses were a little bit rough, and a little bit just annoyed overall with the fact that we decided not to take the test. Fine. When it came down to the whole situation, one of the nurses was particularly aggravated because we had come in at the night. At night, I want to say around 10:30 at night. So once we got into the room, settled in, it was already 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was already feeling tired. As far as I could tell, we were the only ones in the labor and delivery at that time. And I mean the only patients, not other ones, nothing. We were the only labor and delivery patients that I could see. Okay? So that did take an effect. It's not like they were overloaded or anything like that. But I was tired. So once we got there, I decided, hey, I'm going to fall asleep. And while I fell asleep, I took off the mask. Became a problem for one of the nurses. You know, I was asleep, and she came in to deal with my wife while I was asleep. And she started yelling at my wife, like, this guy needs to be wearing his mask. And I'm just there passed out, okay? So she's like, he needs to be wearing his mask. He shouldn't be wearing his mask, you know, taking it off, blah, blah, blah. My wife's trying to explain to her, obviously, like, he's asleep. Like, you want him to wear it. So that was obviously very uncomfortable. She made a bigger deal out of it than normal. And I think that was a negative thing because I was asleep. I was asleep for most of the night because my wife was given medications. She was relaxed. She was having contractions, but she was able to sleep through some of the night. And while she was, I was catching, you know, some of my Z's too. In the morning, another nurse came in. She also wasn't too happy about the situation, I suppose. And when I remember one time we had called for my wife to see how much she had been dilated. And she was very rough with my wife, almost, you know, I don't want to accuse her of anything, obviously, because I don't know, but it seemed like, you know, I mean, you guys are doctors. You guys can do, they're not doctors, but they're nurses. I mean, if they really wanted to check you, they could probably make it hurt a little bit more, or more uncomfortable than what it could normally be if you aggravate them a little bit. And I think that's what happened in this situation when she was checking to how, you know, for how much my wife had been dilated. In the past, when I had become a father, outside of this pandemic, you know, the labor and delivery nurses had made me feel almost, wow, you know, and I really see how important that aspect of it is because, you know, you're becoming a father, and during this time, it just seemed like the nurses were more out for themselves. Now, I guess this is a situation, you know, it's a particular situation. People need to protect themselves, and I understand certain things, but I feel in some situations they were a little bit overboard because we weren't being rude. I wasn't being rude, and that's that sometimes I can be a little bit of a stickler, but this time around I managed to be calm because I realized, you know, you don't yell at the people that serve your food. You don't yell at the people that administer your health care, quite honestly, because that'd be the stupidest thing. I mean, Jesus Christ, they're putting needles and stuff into your arm, and you really don't want to be talking bad to them. So I definitely, even though I can get a little bit worked up, I maintained my calmness, and you know, I understood when she was hurting my wife. I didn't say anything because I was there when she was checking her. So I managed to keep calm and remain calm. I didn't say anything. I did get upset, but, you know, we were relaxed and we were calm. Now, a positive experience, because of course I just don't want to rag all on the situation because it was a wonderful experience overall. It's just I do need to let you know seriously what to expect because there was a difference based on what it was and what it's going to be in some of your situations, depending on how bad the coronavirus is or how, I don't know, but this was already in August, so we're not even talking the height of the pandemic or anything. We're already talking falling numbers and stuff like that. So who knows who's going to be going into the situation, but hopefully it'll help you prepare. a little bit more for what's going to be happening. That was my son. Um, so I don't want to completely rag on the nurses at the location. You know, I mean, it wasn't all a negative situation, because the post delivery or the recovery after the labor and delivery, I'm not sure, I think it's postpartum, I'm not sure what they called it, but recovery for labor and delivery, that nurse was amazing. We got a specific nurse. She never switched out, aside from only once, and it was a specific nurse every time. That nurse is the one that's like, when she came in and didn't notice me while I was asleep with a mask, I said, I'm sorry, you know, I put my mask on. And, you know, she's the one that kind of made me realize the, you know, the reality and how kind of disrespectful the previous nurse could have been, because she's like, she's the one that made the comment saying, you know, I understand, you know, you should be wearing a mask, but I'm not really worried. She's like, why would I be wearing all this protective gear if I'm worried about your mask? I'm already geared up. So if anything, I mean, I guess, yes, there is that extra layer of protection. Let me just get that out of the way. There's an extra layer of protection. But, you know, she made it kind of like, don't even worry about it. It's fine. She had to be in that protective equipment anyways every time she came in. So everything was really good on that aspect. So I don't want to completely rag on again, the whole situation. I think I've already repeated that. I have chickens. I just got chickens, and because of that situation, I need to come home and put the chickens away every night. It just so happened the following day, the chickens, you know, hadn't been tended to. And that was a situation that I needed to go tend to. So the following day, after we had gone to labor and delivery, we were able to do a switch out, which was very nice. We spoke with, you know, now the difference is that my mom, who was going to come take over my place while I attended to our needs there at the home while this whole situation was going on, she was willing to get tested. So I'm not sure, because of that, you know, leaned them in. They never tested her anyways, but because of her willingness to be tested, she, you know, they didn't really give her a hard time. However, I was required to come back to the hospital to stay overnight, because nobody other than the father was allowed to stay overnight. My mom was ready to stay overnight because I was going to take my son with me, because I have a 2-year-old son. We were going to spend some time, and then we were going to go back in the morning to early in the morning. The whole situation was a very unique situation. This was very rough just due to the fact that the coronavirus, there's some chickens, the pandemic, you know, there's a lot of things going on, and we just wanted to make sure, you know, that everything was going to be taken care of and not die. So that ended up happening. I come back to labor and delivery. Everything's good. And then my wife, you know, pushes out the baby. Everything's fine. We go to postpartum. We're having a great time in postpartum. Everything was good. Smooth sailing from there on out. The nurses were fantastic. My wife is amazing. I mean, she doesn't even look like she had a baby. So I'm a very lucky man. She's going to be producing content also on YouTube as well. And the reason we're doing it is because we want to leave some sort of record. We want to share our experiences. I know that not a lot of people are choosing to have children nowadays. So I want you to know, you know, this is the type of experience that you could experience. We live in a city, in a major metropolitan area for the most part. I would say comfortably there's about 750,000 people here, and I mean roughly it could get up to 1 million based on the city, surrounding areas and stuff like that. So there are a lot of people in my area. Aside from that, if you're looking at my video and you're looking forward to having a kid and you're being a father, congratulations. This is a unique time for you to be having a kid, especially if it's your first kid. It's going to be an experience that you're not going to forget, hopefully, in the area, because, you know, they made me feel really special when I had my other 2 children. And this time around, it was unfortunately just not up to where it was used to being. And I understand that. I'm not ragging on them because we are in the middle of a pandemic. However, I don't want people to think that this is a normal experience, and I want to share more or less what to expect when this type of situation is going to be happening. congratulations again. Thank you for watching my videos. I'll be doing more farming videos, chicken videos, political videos, gaming videos, helping my wife get going. We'll be streaming over on Twitch, and just trying to figure out more or less how to document our lives and go forward and navigate through these politically charged times. And we want to become more self-sufficient as well, so we're trying to raise food, chickens, and again, I really enjoy all my time and all my children, so hopefully we'll be able to document their progression as we move forward. And for now, thanks guys. I just wanted to share a little bit of what it was like having a child in 2020, being a father having a child in 2020. Ladies, if you're watching this, I will be linking a YouTube video to my wife's video where she'll be letting you know what to expect as a mother giving childbirth in the experience, and she wants to let you know more or less what it's like navigating the world, because while I'm working from home, my wife has been very involved in this whole teaching from home, self-taught, and she wants to let people know and let everybody know the experiences and what to expect, especially if you aren't this is your first time, you know, having a child in this type of situation, or just basically just sharing experiences. That way we can share more or less, you know. I know I'm getting off the topic here. I just need to kind of wrap it up here. Well, thanks for watching the video, guys. We'll see you on the next one, and I appreciate your time. For now, be safe wherever you are, wherever you go. Bye-bye.